welcome to the deep dive. You're trying to keep up with tech, but without drowning in information, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
We know, it's just a flood out there. So our job here is, well, pretty simple. Cut through that noise for you.
Mm-hmm.
Think of this as your guided tour, focusing on what's actually important, distilled down. Maximum value, minimum time.
Exactly. We're not just reading headlines. We dig into what these things mean, for you. It's like your curated briefing to stay ahead.
And today, we're zeroing in on the April 25th, 2025 edition of the Technical News You Can Possibly Use newsletter, Andrew Kagan's latest.
Right.
It covers quite a bit, mostly the Microsoft world, but some other bits too. We've gone through it to pull out the really useful stuff across, 8 areas?
Yep, 8 key areas. We'll hit Azure, then Microsoft 365, Power Platform, and Dynamics 365.
Okay.
Then DevOps, SRE, infrastructure stuff, data analytics, AI, that's always a big one.
Always.
Security, compliance, privacy critical, learning and certs, and finally some broader industry news and trends.
So a pretty comprehensive sweep, but we'll keep it concise.
That's the plan.
Okay, let's kick off with Azure then. First thing that caught my eye was this video on subscription vending for Azure governance. Now, that title alone, if you've ever struggled managing Azure subs, it sounds promising, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. What's really interesting here, I think, is the shift it implies. It's moving away from just, cleaning up messes after the fact.
Right, reactive.
Exactly. This is about being proactive, automating how subscriptions get created, but baking the governance rules right in from the start.
Embedding the rule.
Yeah, so you prevent the sprawl and the inconsistencies before they even happen. It's about putting guardrails up automatically. Big improvement over just auditing later.
Makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Build it right from the foundation. Okay, then there's this pretty bold recommendation. Stop using AVD MSIX app attached. Do this instead.
Yeah, that's direct, isn't it?
It really is. When you see something phrased like that, you figure there must be a good reason. Something's changed.
Absolutely. Yeah. MSIX app attach. I mean, it's been a key part of delivering apps in Azure Virtual Desktop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this urgency suggests whatever this is, it probably fixes a major headache, maybe better performance, or maybe it simplifies managing the apps, which can get complex.
Could be.
The takeaway is if you're using AVD, you need to investigate that alternative. It sounds like a significant best practice shift.
Definitely one to look into. Okay, shifting focus a bit. Azure OpenAI service authorized for U.S. government data. That feels like a pretty big deal for AI in the cloud.
It is a major milestone, really. Getting that authorization means Azure OpenAI meets some seriously strict security and compliance bars needed for government data.
Which opens doors, presumably.
Huge doors. Government agencies can now use these advanced AI tools, knowing the data is handled within a trusted, secure environment.
Yeah.
It really shows the growing confidence in platforms like Azure for sensitive stuff.
Good point. And just a note, for a wider view of Azure updates, the newsletter points to the Azure Update April 18, 2025 video. Always good to have those roundups.
Yeah, consolidated updates are useful.
Okay, let's move over to Microsoft 365. Seems like user connection is important, judging by the OneDrive customer office hours video mention.
Yeah, those kinds of direct sessions are super valuable for Microsoft and for users.
How so?
Well, users get answers straight from the source, right?
Yeah.
The product team. And they can give direct feedback, maybe even influence what comes next based on their actual needs.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Direct line.
Especially for folks heavily using OneDrive.
And then more on the practical side, how Microsoft 365 backup works and setup guide video. That, always fundamental. Data loss is, well, terrifying.
It's absolutely crucial. Understanding how M365 backup actually functions and having a clear setup guide, that's just basic business continuity.
Right.
And it's not just big disasters. Accidental deletes, ransomware. This stuff protects against all that, gives you peace of mind.
Couldn't agree more. Now, here's one that seems small but potentially really handy. The text extractor and snipping tool is rolling out. Yeah, pulling text directly from screenshots sounds like a nice little productivity boost.
That is handy. It's one of those quality of life things,
Totally.
Instead of retyping or finding another tool, it's just right there. Saves a few seconds here and there, but that adds up. I can already think of times I needed that.
Me too. And of course, you can't talk M365 without mentioning Copilot. The newsletter flags 6 powerful new Microsoft 365 Copilot features and also a redesigned Copilot with new search, image, and notebook features. It's just moving so fast.
It really is. The pace is incredible.
Were any of those new features particularly stand out?
Well, the sheer breadth is what's striking. The redesign, adding search, image creation, the notebook. It suggests Copilot's getting woven much deeper into everything.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It's not just about text help anymore. It's becoming this more versatile AI partner for all sorts of tasks. Keeping track of these specific features is key to figuring out how it can actually change how you work. Seems like it's getting more visual, more research-focused.
Interesting. Okay, let's pivot to Power Platform and Dynamics 365. For the Power BI pros out there, there's a video on DAX and visuals in Power BI. Tips, tricks, best practices. Sounds like core skill stuff.
Absolutely. If you're serious about Power BI, mastering DAX, the formula language, and knowing how to make effective visuals, those are table stakes.
Right.
This probably has some really practical advice for getting deeper insights and, just as importantly, communicating them clearly.
Now, here's an interesting one. A video asking, should data scientists care about Power BI? That makes you think about how these roles are maybe blending.
That's a great question, actually. It touches on how the data landscape is shifting. Traditionally, data scientists might stick to their specialized tools, R, Python.
Yeah.
But as getting data insights into the hands of more people becomes important, democratizing data, right?
Yeah.
Tools like Power BI become valuable for data scientists, too.
For communicate.
Exactly. Communicating findings, collaborating with business folks. It suggests data scientists might find Power BI really useful for that presentation layer, making their work more accessible.
Interesting overlap. And for automation fans, there's news about new computer use in Copilot Studio for UI automation. Sounds like it extends its reach quite a bit.
Yeah, this is about making Copilot Studio talk to things beyond just websites or APIs. UI automation means it can interact with, like, desktop apps.
Oh, like older systems.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Legacy systems that don't have modern APIs. This lets you automate processes that involve those older apps, bringing them into newer automated workflows. Opens up a lot of possibilities.
Okay, let's jump into DevOps, SRE, and infrastructure. The newsletter mentions agentic IDEs, the next frontier. Intriguing name. What's the basic idea?
Agentic IDEs. Think of it as your coding environment getting way smarter, like actively helping you.
More than just autocomplete.
Oh yeah, much more. It's AI that doesn't just react, but proactively suggests things, generating complex code snippets based on what you're doing, maybe finding bugs before you even run the code, suggesting ways to refactor.
Wow.
The agentic part means it's more like an autonomous assistant right there in your editor. Could be a huge boost for productivity and code quality too.
Sounds like a potential game changer. Security, of course, always critical. There's an armchair architects. API and endpoint security video. Central viewing, I'd imagine.
Absolutely vital. Everything's connected by APIs these days, right?
Wow.
So locking down those APIs and endpoints is non-negotiable.
Right.
This video probably covers the essentials. Authentication, authorization, how to handle traffic, detect threats. If you build or manage connected systems, you need to understand this stuff.
Makes sense. And for people just starting out in this area, there's a link. If you're diving into DevOps, start here. Always good to have a clear path in.
Definitely. DevOps can look like this huge, complicated thing at first. Having a curated starting point, key concepts, practices, maybe tools, suggestions, that's super helpful for beginners, gives you a roadmap.
And for companies using containers, specifically Kubernetes, Andrew Kagan highlights a comparison of the top 10 managed Kubernetes providers 2025. Lots of choices out there.
Yeah, Kubernetes is pretty much the standard now, but picking the right managed provider is a big decision. Azure has AKS, Google has GKE, Amazon EKS.
And then others too.
Right. This comparison likely breaks down the pros and cons of the main players, helping you choose based on your needs, budget, technical know-how.
Useful guide. And sticking with containers, a practical piece on automating container patching with Copacetic and GitHub Actions. Patching containers sounds like a job you'd want to automate.
Oh, for sure. Trying to manually patch containers across a big environment, that's slow, error-prone.
Yeah.
Just asking for trouble. Automating it with tools like these means your images get security updates regularly, automatically, cuts down the risk without being a huge operational headache. Efficiency and security win.
Okay, let's shift to data analytics and AI. The newsletter mentions mastering agentic RAG and understanding RAG pipelines in production. Okay, first, quick refresher on RAG. And what's agentic ad?
Sure. So RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Basically, it helps large language models give better answers by first looking stuff up.
Okay.
Instead of just using its training data, it retrieves relevant info from, say, your company's documents, then generates the answer based on that, makes the answers more accurate, more current.
Got it. And the agentic part.
Agentic already takes it up a notch.
Yeah.
The AI becomes more autonomous in how it finds and uses that external knowledge.
Mm.
It might search multiple sources, refine its search based on what it finds, then put together a more complex, nuanced answer. It's like making the retrieval part smarter and more self-directed.
Right, more intelligent searching. Okay, that helps. For Power BI folks wrestling with huge data sets, there are Direct Lake in desktop. Quick tips. Sounds performance related.
Yeah, Direct Lake is all about tackling performance issues when you're analyzing massive data sets in Power BI desktop.
How does it work?
It lets Power BI access data directly in a data lake, like Fabric One Lake, without needing to import or cache it first.
Skipping a step.
Exactly, which could mean huge speed improvements for querying and visualizing that big data. These tips probably give practical ways to actually use it effectively.
Good to know. Then there's converting unstructured data into knowledge graphs. Sounds like unlocking hidden value.
That's a great way to put it. Think about all the unstructured stuff businesses have, documents, emails, web pages.
Tons of it.
Turning that into a knowledge graph, which is like a map of how things and concepts are related, lets you see connections and patterns you'd totally miss otherwise. It's about extracting real intelligence from that raw information.
Powerful stuff. And for organizations trying to actually use AI more broadly, not just experiment, Andrew Kagan points to the OpenAI Practical Guide, Scaling AI Use Cases. A common challenge right now, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. Going from a cool AI pilot project to making it a core part of how you operate. That's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
This guide likely covers the practical hurdles: infrastructure, data governance, deploying models safely, monitoring them, proving the business value. It's about making AI real and sustainable, not just hype.
Crucial guidance. Okay, let's talk security, compliance, and privacy. Super important, especially with AI booming. We see Microsoft Purview protections for Copilot and tips on deploying Purview DSPM for AI.
Yeah, as tools like Copilot get embedded everywhere, securing them and the data they touch is top priority. Purview is Microsoft's suite for data governance, risk, compliance. So these resources show how Purview is being adapted specifically for AI, making sure you can adopt AI responsibly, securely. DSPM is data security posture management, by the way.
Got it. Also, an announcement about the public preview of Zero Trust DNS. Sounds like a fundamental network security shift.
It is. Zero trust, the whole never trust, always verify idea.
Yeah.
Applying that to DNS is pretty significant.
How does it differ from regular DNS?
Well, traditional DNS often kind of assumes stuff inside the network is trustworthy. Zero Trust DNS assumes every request could be bad no matter where it comes from. It verifies everything, helps block things like DNS spoofing or data sneaking out via dodgy DNS lookups.
Makes sense. More verification. For people navigating both cloud security and AI adoption, there's an Azure Security and AI Adoption Tech Accelerator playlist mentioned.
Those tech accelerators are usually gold mines. They pull together curated content, best practices, guides, basically a fast track to learning how to implement stuff like AI in Azure securely and compliantly. Saves you wading through tons of docs.
Good resource. And on the threat front, the newsletter flags an MCP attack playbook about weaponizing vulnerabilities and also using Microsoft Security Copilot with MDTI, Sentinel, and Defender XDR. Sounds like essential intel for security teams.
Definitely. Knowing how attackers might exploit Microsoft product flaws is key for defense. That playbook likely details attack methods and how to stop them.
Right.
And using Security Copilot alongside threat intelligence feeds, that's MDTI, and your main security platforms like Sentinel, the SIM, and Defender XDR, that drastically improves how fast and effectively you can spot threats, investigate, and respond. Connects the dots faster.
Powerful combination. Lastly, in this section, an update on Purview e-discovery new user experience and retirement of Classic, important for legal and compliance teams to note.
Yeah, platform updates like this matter. A new UX for e-discovery probably means better searching, easier workflows, but retiring the old one means teams have to migrate to keep using those essential tools for investigations.
Good heads up. Okay, let's switch to learning and certifications. Andrew Kagan mentions the productivity secret hiding in plain sight. Intriguing. Always looking for that silver bullet.
Huh? Yeah. Sometimes the biggest productivity gains aren't from flashy new tools, right? It's about mastering fundamentals or simple techniques we just overlook. This probably focuses on those less obvious but powerful habits or methods.
Could be interesting. For developers wanting to build AI agents, your first AI agent in JS with Azure AI Agent Service sounds like a perfect practical starting point.
Yeah, nothing beats hands-on learning. A guide like this Using familiar stuff like JavaScript and Azure services makes it way less intimidating to start building actual AI agents. Great way to get practical skills quickly.
And for understanding the basics, essential machine learning and AI concepts animated, visuals can really help with complex stuff.
Totally agree. Abstract concepts like ML algorithms, seeing them animated can make them click in a way text sometimes doesn't. Makes it more accessible.
For web devs, converting Angular apps to React with VS Code agent mode. That sounds like it could save a ton of effort on migrations.
Yeah, moving between big frameworks like Angular and React is usually a major pain. If there's a tool, especially when integrated into VS Code, that can automate or really simplify that conversion, that's huge for developer productivity.
Definitely. And since everyone's using chatbots, 5 AI prompts that work like magic, any chatbot, sounds useful. Getting good results is all about the prompt, isn't it?
It really is. Prompt engineering is becoming a real skill. Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Right.
Knowing how to phrase your request to get the AI to give you accurate, creative, useful stuff, that's key. These magic prompts probably showcase some effective techniques.
Worth checking out for developers wanting to level up beyond the bare minimum. Software engineering excellence sounds like it goes deeper than just writing code.
Yeah, being a truly excellent software engineer isn't just about making code work. It's about maintainability, scalability, security, teamwork, good architecture, all that stuff. This likely explores those higher-level practices.
Okay. And finally for learning, getting started with Copilot Studio Agent Builder. Sounds like Copilot Studio is becoming more powerful.
Seems like it. The Agent Builder suggests it's moving beyond just building simple chatbots. Now you can create more complex AI agents that can actually do things, automate tasks across systems, maybe reason a bit more. This guide would be the entry point for that new functionality.
Cool. Okay, last section, industry news and trends from the newsletter. First, Capital One made a bold, secure data tokenization. What's that exactly in this context?
So tokenization is basically replacing sensitive data, like a credit card number, with a non-sensitive substitute, a token.
Okay.
That token can be used for processing, analytics, whatever, but the actual sensitive data stays locked away safely.
Yeah.
It massively reduces the risk if there's a breach. Super important in finance.
Makes sense. Protects the real data. Then a worrying one. Cookie bite. Threat actors bypassing MFA. Yikes. MFA is supposed to be the strong defense.
It is a strong defense, but attackers are always finding ways. Cookie bite likely refers to techniques where they steal your active session cookie, the thing that keeps you logged in.
Ah, so they hijack the session.
Exactly. If they get that cookie, they might be able to bypass MFA because the system thinks it's still you, already authenticated.
Yeah.
Shows why you need multiple layers of security, not just MFA. Defense in depth.
Good reminder. And finally, OpenAI Codex CLI, local coding agent. Sounds like AI coding help right on your own machine.
Yeah, having an AI coding assistant like Codex running locally, integrated into your command line or editor, that could really speed things up. Real-time suggestions, maybe generating code snippets right there. It's part of that trend of embedding AI deeper into the developer workflow.
Very interesting. Wow, okay. That was quite a tour through Andrew Kagan's latest newsletter. So much happening.
It never stops, does it?
Yeah.
Azure, N365, AI, security, constant evolution.
It really is. Staying on top of it is one thing, but like you said, understanding the why behind it all is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How does it actually impact you, your work, your organization?
So as everyone listening digests all of that, the rapid changes, the new tools, the security shifts, here's something to maybe chew on until next time.
Okay.
With everything moving this fast across all these different tech areas, what do you think is the single most critical skill or maybe mindset that people and companies need to really cultivate, not just to keep pace, but to actually thrive in the next year or so?
That's a good one to ponder.
Something to think about. We'll leave you with that until our next deep dive.